Okay, let's look at some numbers first. Y'all are CPA almost wannabes. So we're going to look at some statistics, and Bill talked a little bit about these. This is from fiscal year in 2013, which was August 31, 2013 for the state. CPAs, we have over 68,000 active CPAs, 5 PAs. This was a special designation that the legislature gave to people in 1945 that came back from the war. They wanted to have to be in the accounting profession. They did not have the education it took to become licensed, and so the legislature carved out a niche for them and called them public accountants. We are no longer licensing public accountants. It's literally a dying breed. Firms, 9,500, we're close to 10,000 now. New CPAs by exam, 1,658. These are people that have passed the exam. They have now gotten their license, and we have about that many every year. And then new CPAs by reciprocity. These are individuals that are certified in another state. They find their way to Texas, and we license them here so that they have a license in multiple states. Exam candidates, come on in, have a seat. 12,891. We have about 5,000 that are actively pursuing the CPA designation. And then around 1,700 pass the exam on an annual basis. So how do we do on the exam itself? We've got national statistics and Texas statistics. And you can see across the board, Texas is performing much better than the national average. Quarter 1, which was January, February testing, Texas is ranked 3rd in the most candidates, but 1st in the passing rate. So you are in a good place by being in Texas and wanting to be a CPA. There are 4 E's that will get you to be a CPA. Education is where we're starting first, examination, experience, and ethics. A lot of states don't have the ethics component. Texas requires all 4 of those. You're not out there on that bicycle pedaling all by yourself. We are here to help you. And what do you have to have education-wise to take the exam? You need to have a bachelor's degree from a board-recognized educational institution, 150 semester hours of college credit, 30 semester hours of upper level accounting. Half of those must be in face-to-face courses in the seat. The other half can be distance learning, hybrid, face-to-face, or a combination of those 3. Within that 30 hours, you will need 2 semester hours of accounting or tax research and analysis using online authoritative literature. 24 hours of upper level business courses. 2 of those will need to be in accounting or business communication. And we're looking for an intensive writing course. We don't care that you can carry on a debate with somebody. Can you put it on paper? And then 3 semester hours of a board-approved ethics course. And Park has all of these requirements. I believe that we can help you get that opportunity to take the exam. We also have international education. There's a number of folks from other countries that find their way to Texas. And we have an agreement with UT Austin Graduate International Admission Board. And they will do the evaluation for us, because we want to determine that those individuals taking the exam who have education outside the U.S., it has to be equivalent in all respects to what you would get here in the U.S. Applications, that's a giant redwood tree, and once again, we are here just to help you get your arms around those applications. The first one that you'll fill out is the application of intent. There is a $50 fee with this application. You can submit it any time year-round. It'll take about 2 to 3 weeks to get it processed. And it allows us to evaluate your education and to do a background check. It expires 2 years from the day that we receive it in the office, unless you have taken at least 1 section of the exam. We advise students to apply and to submit the application about a semester before completing your education. That way, when you get the letter from us that says you're deficient in one accounting course and an ethics course, you'll know, when I'm taking an accounting and ethics course right now, everything will be good. When I finish this semester, it'll be approved and I'll move on to the next application. Next one is an eligibility application. This one will take you about 5 to 10 minutes to complete. It's online. It allows you to apply for a section of the exam itself. We will have it approved within 24 to 48 hours. And once it's approved, you'll have the next 90 days to pay NASPA, schedule with Prometric, and take the test. We advise students to submit an application for one part, and don't try to cram in 2 or 3 parts in a 90-day period, because you're just hurting yourself. You won't be able to study and prepare like you need to when you're trying to prepare for multiple parts. The exam itself is a collaborative effort between boards of accountancy, and there are 54 licensing jurisdictions, the AICPA, Prometric, the testing vendor, NASBA, National Association of Boards of Accountancy, and they represent the 55 jurisdictions. And we work in concert to make sure that this exam comes off without any problems for you, because we know how important it is for students who are prepared to take that exam and enter the profession. This may be hard to see, but that's kind of what a workspace is going to look like at a Prometric testing center. There are 4 sections. It's year-round testing now. Score reporting is done during each of those testing windows. Passing grade of 75, and credit life is 18 months. Testing can occur in January, February, April, May, July, August, October, November. And it's available 7 days a week at a number of locations. In Texas, we have 23 test centers. There are over 300 Prometric test centers in the U.S., 6 countries where you can take the exam, and 23 here in the good old state of Texas. We have 4 sections of the exam: the audit, business, financial, and regulation section. And there are the audit, financial, and reg. 60% are multiple choice questions. 40% are task-based simulations and research items. These are the short answer type questions, where you might find a question where a client brings you their shoebox to prepare their taxes, and they dump it on your desk, and it's your responsibility to sort through that, work through that, to come up with the answers to the questions. On the business environment and concepts, 85% multiple choice and 15% written communications items. Now, a lot of people will look at that and say, oh, well, if 75 is passing and I've got 85% multiple choice questions, I'm going to blow off the written communications. What we find is that that's not a good plan to take. It's not a good strategy, because you won't get 100% on all 85% of those multiple choice questions. So you need to be prepared for that written communication part. So what's covered in that? Constructive response development. The 3 parts, the audit, financial, and reg, you'll write essays. You'll need to write a memo. You need to make sure it's clear, complete, and professional. No LOLs out there. The skill specifications outline. This is something you can find at the AICPA website, and it will, the writing that you're going to do in that BDC section needs to cover these items. Basic writing mechanics, your writing principles, how you can exchange information with technical co-workers and other professionals or clients, and then documentation. And that's what AICPA is looking for when they grade your written communications in the BDC section. It's holistically scored, You will get 0 points if you are off topic or giving illegal advice. And then you get up to 4 points depending on how well you construct your response. As I said earlier, passing is 75. If you sit for the exam the 1st of April and we get your grade to you on May 11th, and you made a 75, your grade of 75 or your credit begins on May the 11th. And from the day you get that passing grade, 75, you will have the next 18 months to pass the remaining 3 parts before that first section falls off. So you want to make sure that you are working diligently to passing those other 3 parts within that 18-month period. You'll also get a performance report with each exam score that you get. And that will help you know where your strengths and weaknesses are, whether they're in the multiple choice area, they're in the written communication area. If they're in specific areas within the content specifications of a part of the exam, then you'll know where you need to prepare next time and put more effort into those areas while you're still studying for the entire part. Work experience. Everybody has to have 1 year of full-time work experience under the direct supervision of a CPA in non-routine accounting, which is either a test work, audits, compilations, and reviews, or accounting or professional accounting skills or accounting work. And you're doing independent judgment, applying entry-level or higher professional skills and knowledge to select, correct, organize, interpret, and present real-world data as accounting entries, analyses, over tax accounting assurance. That's what we're looking for. What do we, and you can obtain it through these areas. Client practice, that's CPA firm stuff. Industry, as an internal auditor, a staff or tax accountant, accounting systems analyst, in government, at a law firm, but all of your experience, and this is key, must be under the supervision of a CPA who is licensed and in good standing. When you go into interview, if you don't feel confident asking that person that you're interviewing, will my supervisor be a CPA? When you leave there, go back to the board's website. We have a licensee lookup, and you can put that person's name in, and it will tell you if he's licensed or she's licensed, if she's in good standing, if she's had any problems. You can find the same information in every state about CPAs. So make sure you have done your work before you take that job. Okay, we are looking for that non-routine work to be in either a test services or professional accounting services. It doesn't have to be in both. If it's in professional accounting services, like you'll find in industry, it doesn't have to be in all of these, only one. So if you're working on reports on financial statements, that's fine. Or tax returns, you don't have to be doing multitude of things. What doesn't count? Self-employment, accounting clerical work, and any work that's not accounting. So why do you need to be a CPA? Every person up here needs a CPA and probably has one or more. This data is from March 2014, so just last month. Here we have our unemployment rate for the U.S., 6.7%. Here we have our unemployment rate for accountants, 3.5%, looking pretty good. And a 16% projected growth in accounting jobs by 2020. So it's a great profession. Not all CPAs, all CPAs are accountants, but not all CPAs, not all accountants are CPAs. I can't read, it's late tonight. 90% of the CPAs say that their role involves a third or less traditional accounting. I think this was what you were asking Mr. Tracy about earlier. IT, HR, risk management, organization strategy, CEO, supply chain. So it's a pretty diverse profession. It's not just the green eye shades in the back office crunching numbers anymore. You actually are out there meeting people, working with people, and meeting their needs. Only CPAs have the authority to audit a company's books and sign off on the validity of any of those financial statements. So why do you need to be a CPA in Texas? First of all, it's a very stable profession. It is portable. You can take it anywhere in the world, not just outside the United States or in the United States. It is recognized globally. It also has a solid foundation for entry into business endeavors. And the last thing, we talked about that earlier with Mr. Tracy, it meets the public's needs, because the public relies on you for competence, assurance, integrity, and your expertise. I have a friend who became a CPA back in the 70s and decided, I don't want to do this anymore. So now he has a chain of storage buildings and a very lucrative business. But if he didn't know how to handle the business end of it, he would not have had that lucrative business. So you can take that and use it in multiple places, multiple ways.
When you say it's portable, if you were to go to Missouri, let's say, is it a reciprocal license, or how does that work?
It is. It is. We have reciprocal agreements with all 55 licensing jurisdictions. I don't know if you read this or not, but it says it's a passport. Texas is like a whole other country. We have ability to have transfer of credit. So if you start taking the exam here and you find that you're going to have to move to Louisiana, you can transfer those credits that you've earned as a Texas candidate to Louisiana. You can also continue testing as a Texas candidate and live in Louisiana or anywhere else in the world. If you are a Louisiana candidate and you find you're coming to Texas, we will accept your credits provided you meet these 3 conditions. First of all, they do use the same exam. The credits have to be active. And this is the kicker, meets the Texas education requirements that were in effect when the credit was earned. A lot of folks will not want to take 30 hours of accounting and 150 hours of college credit, because they can go to New Hampshire and they can sit for the exam as a New Hampshire candidate with 24 hours of accounting. I had 2 today who did that, and they came back across my desk. And I said, sorry, we cannot transfer your credits because you did not meet all the education requirements that a Texas candidate had to meet when they first began taking the test. So if it is your intention, come on in, gentlemen, if it is your intention to be a Texas CPA, please stay here and finish your education and take it under the Texas guidelines. Don't try to short circuit things that will only shoot you in the foot. We have reciprocal agreements with all 55 licensing jurisdictions. It has to be substantially equivalent to Texas regarding education and experience. The only one that I'm aware of that substantial equivalency is with Virgin Islands. No, excuse me, it's Puerto Rico. And we're working towards that. But everywhere else, that a person from Ohio who's a CPA can come to Texas. You as a Texas CPA can go to Nebraska or Virginia or Vermont and get your reciprocal license. In 1915, when the Texas legislature gave the public accountancy to the people of Texas, it said that the Board of Accountancy can promulgate rules. And the first set of rules that were written were the rules of conduct. And this was to tell CPAs how they were supposed to behave and conduct their business. It covers professional standards, responsibilities to clients, responsibilities to the public, and to the board and the profession. So do those rules of conduct apply to you? Because you're not CPAs. The minute you send in an application of intent, those rules apply to you. We know that you're not going to know them all now, but you're learning them as you go through your education. And it truly is a change in a way of life for you. It's how you think about yourself, how you think about your peers and the profession that you want to enter. Last thing, moral character. We do a background check on every applicant, or every person who sends us an application of intent. Then whenever they pass the exam, we do another background check right before we license them. What we are looking for is a lack of dishonest or felonious acts, and we use the Texas Department of Public Safety Crime Records file. If we see a PI or an MIP, that's not going to keep you from taking the exam, and it's not going to keep you from getting your license. If we see two PIs, an MIP, a DWI, shoplifting charge, all in one person, we think, ooh, now there's something going on with this person that either they have addressed and we need to know about it, or they haven't addressed and we need to tell them about it. So we refer to a group called Accountants Confidential Assistance Network. It is a group of individual CPAs who are in recovery from alcohol, drugs, or mental health issues. And we can ask a volunteer to meet with students, CPAs, exam candidates, to let them know about their program and to help them through their process in identifying any concerns that they may have in behavioral issues. So where can you go to get some more information? First place is aicpa.org CPA-exam. Here you're going to find samples, tests, and tutorials. It's real important that you use this site and you work through those sample tests and tutorials, because what you'll find is when you go to take the test, you're going to be very anxious and you're going to sit down at that computer and it's going to do something that it doesn't do in the real world, because it looks like Excel, but it's not Excel. It looks like Word, but it's not Word, and you're going to spend too much time trying to make it work where it can't work. If you go here, work through this will become second nature for you. You'll have worked through all of that. You'll understand exactly what it'll do. Another place you want to go is thiswaytocpa.com. This is a site that gives you information and helps you strategize your exam, how you want to study for it, where you need to concentrate your effort. It gives you CPA profiles. All of these folks are recent CPAs, how they got through the process. These folks, they came, they studied, they conquered. How did they do it? Pick up all kinds of good tidbits on this. And there's also a mobile app for your phone. When you expect to take your first exam, and how are they going to help you walk through that so you can budget your time and prepare to take that test. So we've got aicpa.org, NASPA.org. Take a minute to look at this item called Candidate Bulletin. It will give you a lot of information about what to expect at the test centers. Prometric.com. And if you decide that you're going to be going to another state as either a licensee or to take the test, you can check with the AL library at NASPA, and it will tell you the different requirements for other state boards of accountancy.
It is the same exam, a uniform exam in all 50 states, but then each state has different education requirements?
They do.
So that's,
Texas has one of the more stringent education requirements. If you can sit for the exam as a Texas candidate, you can sit anywhere. So that's why I say stay here, get this part taken care of, and then move on. When you send in your application of intent, you're going to send a picture of yourself, a little 2x2. We know what you look like. These are the folks that will process the applications. Now you know what they look like. I have folks that have been with me, Sandra's been with me 30 years.
Yeah.
Gilbert's been with me 18 years. And these are the newbies. But they're all very skilled, knowledgeable folks. They'll be able to answer any question you might have. Feel free to call them multiple times until you feel confident that you've got the answer to the questions that you're asking. Now, what questions do you have of me? Yes, ma'am.
So when you're getting your experience, you were saying that you could do it before, during, after. Is there a time limit on how far before the exam you had the experience?
No, you need to keep up with the CPA because that person has to be licensed and in good standing when they supervise you and when you report it to us.
Okay.
So stay in communication.
I'm sorry, how much does it cost to take the exam?
It's $50 for the application of intent. Every time you submit an eligibility application, you will pay $20 to the board for a section. The actual exam cost that you paid in NASPA is around $200 per part. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the very best.